Good morning. It's Thursday, 3:01 in the afternoon. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 8 a.m. I have no idea what time I'm in or
So,
where I
so
am. My hair's flying away. I'm like I don't know. Who am I, Tracy? What's going on?
you are the great Paul Routhier, and you're
Oh,
tuning in from Madrid.
yeah, we're in Madrid right now. It's a beautiful sunny day in Madrid.
Your backdrop. I have location envy.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm in the business district, which is on the north side of Madrid, and it's like we've got SAP here, we've got Oracle, we've got Allianz. There's all kinds of. I'm like in the business hub of Spain, right here in the capital. So it's pretty
That
cool.
is awesome. That's so cool. I'm glad I have a friend that is going places.
Wow, maybe going places, don't know where you're going. Yeah, it's a little jet lag going on here. We got in, I guess it would have been early or late, early yesterday morning, and just complete flip on time. So I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. So you're gonna have to tell me what we're talking about today.
I would be happy to do that. And so I think like when I'm thinking about those our audience and everything and how we might be able to serve them. I was thinking and we brought this up in a recent episode. We kind of touched on, some things that you would not do in business and some things that you would do in business. So today, the do's and the don'ts of business, just extracting from your experience from starting out to coming to where we are right now. And no doubt this would be very, very helpful for somebody if they're in a startup phase or they're in a restart phase, or maybe they're adding on a multiple stream of income and it's a new business venture that they're in. And I think no doubt all of us can. There's always room for improvement. I think I heard somebody say one time, the biggest room in any organization is room for improvement.
Wow, that's a heck of a quote. So the do's and don'ts of business. Holy cow! I mean, that's like a very very broad subject. I guess that really depends on where you are in business today, with what business you're in, and all those. So when you think about it, I guess let's approach it from the point where you're like opening your doors next week, and
Okay.
what's the big do? What's your? We should do this in order. We should go. Okay, so you're opening up a business next week. What's your big don't, Trace? What is your big don't?
Um, don't be afraid to fail.
That's a good don't.
I was thinking this. Here recently, I was at an event, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was at the event, and Paula. I just think like there's a version of Arnold Schwarzenegger that I probably didn't have a lot of. Like I loved his films, but I know that that's play acting. That's pretend. But like as a person, I probably wouldn't have a lot of respect for the man that I got to see at the event. Wow, there's some wisdom there. And he said this. He said, "Success teaches you nothing. It's failure and mistakes. That's where you find the gold in the learn." And I'm thinking like, wow. I mean, so like if I'm opening up the doors next week, it's
Yeah.
not going to go right. There's going to be so many things that I'm going to learn, and that's what failure offers. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I'm blown away that you brought Arnie into this. You brought Arnold Schwarzenegger into this conversation. I gotta tell you, and I feel like I need to let people know. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a brilliant business guy. What most
Yeah.
people don't know is Arnie came into the country. He couldn't speak English. He was doing B movies. They were voicing him in. He met Joe Weider. He ended up signing a contract with Joe Weider. He took that money that he was getting from the Joe Weider contract. He invested in real estate.
Mhm.
Arnold Arnold was worth like almost $10 million before he shot his first real movie. And the big thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger was he never stopped looking for new opportunity. A big
Mm.
do, a big do. Look for
Yes,
opportunity
that's a
in the
great
business
one.
that you're in, that you can identify things that are rolling your way or things that may not be rolling your way and pushing you into other opportunities. Keeping your eyes
Mhm.
open, not from a survival perspective, but from a maximization perspective. What is this person bringing to me? What are they bringing to me that snaps into what I'm already doing to maximize my output, which is the revenue or all that stuff. Schwarzenegger was brilliant at this, and Schwarzenegger just kept, he'd hit a goal and he'd keep putting out this crazy goal all the way to becoming governor of California. If you look at
Mhm.
Schwarzenegger's life, it is him just coming shy of completing a goal and already having the next monster crazy goal set up behind him.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. There is a really good, since you brought him up, and it goes through trials and tribulations, but I think it's on Netflix and or it may be on Amazon, but it kind of goes through
Oh,
who
his
Schwarzenegger
documentary.
was, his documentary. It is
Yeah.
it is it is a watch. It's a business watch. It is a mindset watch. To watch him. I mean, he screwed up so many times it wasn't even funny, but he always recovered and kept going forward. And that's the biggest do. Trip and fall. Do trip and fall. And then get
Yeah.
back up and keep rolling forward. Number two biggest do is fail. Every
Yeah.
failure is one step closer to your big giant success. And it's not
Mhm.
really, I had a conversation the other day. There's really no such thing as failure. There's only giving up. And
Yeah.
that's
Quit.
the truth
Yep.
of the matter. So big do
Well, I
fail.
love it. I
Take
love
the
it how I
take the
came.
balls to fail.
I love it. You brought in. I brought in. Don't be afraid to fail, and you said do trip and fall. It's the same thing, but taking it from a positive stand. Like that's a great spin. That what a great perspective that you turned it into, and taking it from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I want to move to another do. Is we just called the lessons from Arnie. We should have done that because like the like when I think about him, like you're right. I mean, like, and he had a mentor. So I think
Oh,
do secure a mentor, and a mentor is one that knows the way, goes the way, can show you the way. He had an Olga,
mm-hmm.
and Olga was this older lady that helped him invest his first monies. And then when he turned around and sold it 2 years later, she called him up and he even mentioned at the event, he said Olga was the very first person to say, "I'll be back." It was
Well,
hilarious. It was great. But he said that Olga contacted me again when she learned that I sold it. She said, "You better not spend a penny of that money. Reinvest it." And because he had a mentor, to your point about being a millionaire before doing, Conan the Barbarian or whatever, it was because he had an Olga. And I think not only do I want to be somebody's Olga in their life and mentor them and coach them, but I'm thankful for the Olgas I've had in my life. And so do find an Olga.
yeah, yeah,
The power of
and
mentorship. Go ahead.
yeah, and I was going to add to that one of the other, the big things about Arnie is he always surrounded himself with winners. He always, aimed to be somebody big. Lou
Mm-hmm.
Ferrigno, all those guys. I forget who else he worked out with. You threw me completely off of my game when you mentioned Arnie, because of, I paid a lot of attention to Schwarzenegger over the years, but he had a group of people that were invested in his success. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Arnold would never tell you he did it by himself. He's a
Right.
self-made man. He is a man made of the people that were around him. Do
Uh-huh.
do make sure you surround yourself with brilliant people. Do talk about your business with them. Do aim to be somebody else and do deep studies on them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking the bodybuilding world, Arnold was the most studied guy in bodybuilding to become, a Mr. Universe, right? It was like people studied Arnie, and Arnie got into it because he studied somebody else, and he mimicked, modeled, mastered, and then outperformed. That's the piece that's been it. He outperformed
Mm-hmm.
the previous guy that he was studying, and I can't remember the names. I would have had to do my homework on this before you brought
Hmm.
them up. But do find, not only find a mentor, but find a representation of what you want to be and try to outperform
Yeah.
them. Do
What
do.
I love it. I love it. So what about this one? Like, and this could be a do or a don't. We could flip it one way, a positive or a negative. And I don't want to think that every time we say don't is a negative connotation. But what about that? Like, don't compete. Like you mentioned, like do surround yourself with winners. And when I see like old pictures of him, he's got him and Lou Ferrigno are next to each other. Well, I mean, like so, like, and I know he was what 7-time Mr. Universe or whatever. Like
Something
just
to that effect.
amazing. I remember as a kid reading about him in the Guinness Book of World Records, and like, but like don't compete with anybody else but yourself. I mean, like there's, like I think, one of my mentors has said, you don't want to compete, you want to dominate, and you can't dominate while you're just trying to get like an inch further beyond somebody else, 1 point more when your potential is like so much more than that. I mean, like surrounding yourself with mentors or surrounding yourself with winners, but you're not competing with them. They're kind of like pushing you to become the best version of you that you were designed to be.
You know, pardon me. I like that statement, but I'm going to do one better. It's
Let's
it's
go.
do it's do what everyone else is not willing to do. That's
There
the
you
real
go.
statement, and that's
There
where
you go.
Arnie really is. Since we're on the Arnie genre here,
I
that's
love it.
what
Yeah.
Arnie did. The way Arnie worked out, how he worked out, how often he worked out, how he pushed. He was willing to put up with the pain that nobody
Hmm.
else was willing to put up with, which why he was 7 times. You're right. So I thought it was
Hmm.
9 times. Could be 7 or 9. I'm not sure. But the learning there is he was willing to put himself through the pain to get what he wanted to do. In other words, willing not to compete but to dominate by doing what no one else will do.
Hmm. Now, how about this one? Since we're on, and we just gotta own it, Paul. Today we're talking about Arnie. We're lessons from Arnie, do's and
Apparently,
don'ts, and we're
apparently,
relating it to business. How about this one? How
yeah,
about this one? And I've heard him say this before. Do one more rep.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah,
that I
yeah,
mean, like he has this thought that I've heard him say. One more rep. If I can just get one more rep, that little one more rep gets me that much closer to my goal. So just
yeah.
do one more rep.
So I have to tell you, back in my college days, I was a big Arnie fan, and I have a little dent right here in my forehead from doing skull crushers and doing one more rep. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Uh,
You have the scars to
abs-
prove the
I have the
validity of
scars
that
to prove it.
statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Take that extra. Arnie, we're putting this in the basis of business, but ultimately, going back to where we started, you're just opening your doors next week. You've got
Hmm.
to figure out, how you're going to deliver your product, what you're going to deliver. You have to go find customers. You have to go
Yeah.
your validate your solution or your product. Um, you have to. So, a don't
Ooh.
spend a lot of money on advertising until you've
Hmm.
validated that you have the right messaging.
Hmm.
Don't go don't
Yeah.
go spend
So
10 grand
do
on.
yeah. So do validate your message. Like that's that proof of concept.
That's right.
Yeah. That's great. What about um, okay? So I'm coming into business. Let's say I'm taking over a business. I'm like so I met a man in who's from Las Vegas, and he works for his father-in-law, and I could tell like when he's talking, his energy. He's not doing what he's passionate about. He's not doing what he loves. So what about that? I mean, like you're taking over for something else, but it's not. Well, like I know that there's a don't in there, but maybe we can come back and say, you're starting this out, and the basis of this is do what you love or do what you're good at, something like that. I mean, like if we can even trace this back to our illustration with Arnold Schwarzenegger, is like he was doing what he loved. I mean, like if you do what you love, you're going to spend more time doing it. Is that? I mean, even doing what I love. I mean, I love my wife, but that doesn't mean we always get along. Sometimes we have heated fellowship. But
He
after
did,
but after 27 years, I'm still in the game because I love that lady. And like, I think you're going to be in it for the long haul if you're doing what you love. What are your thoughts?
well, number one, I want to put a pin in that because I do want to explore heated fellowship. I don't think I've ever heard that term before, so I kind of want to dive into that, but I won't right now. Um, it's do your homework, which is
Mm,
validating what you have. Um,
yeah.
get your message or understand your message, understand that's resonating. Test your test your messaging, test your advertising, and then pour the money to it. So it
Mm,
is validate, and then pour, and then study, understand your numbers
hmm
and what you can do better. Rinse, wash, and repeat.
Yeah. I think that's a very positive don't about like don't go in, or you mentioned the don't spend money until you validated your message. I can't. I would be ashamed to tell you the thousands of dollars that I spent before I had the messaging down. I'm at, what am I advertising? Like Ted Turner said that early to bed, early to rise, work like crazy and advertise. But you can't. I mean, like work like crazy and advertise doesn't happen unless you have a proof of concept.
Don't. Number one, don't.
Uh huh.
Don't listen to other people unless you understand their perspective.
Mm.
Ted Turner
Oh,
telling you to advertise is a look where the message is coming from.
yeah.
As long as you're advertising, he's making money. Understand the perspective and the outcome for the person who's giving you the message.
hmm
Is
Yeah.
it in your best interest?
Yeah. Yeah.
Truly. So,
That.
or are they giving out information that isn't specifically aimed at helping you? It's aimed
hmm
at helping them. So you need to do that. You need to check your messaging too. So, uh,
My father used
oh,
to say, "Consider the source."
consider this. I was just going to say that. I'm glad I didn't say it because I don't want to be your father. I'm too young to be your father. But yes,
Right.
consider the source and understand the angle that messaging is coming from. Okay,
hmm
it's if someone's trying to sell you something, you better darn well need it, and that's
Yeah.
that's the other source.
Yeah.
So
Big difference between mentoring and manipulation.
that is correct.
You
Yep.
definitely want to choose that wisely. What about how about this do? So we're going to open our
All right.
doors. Um, do what makes money. I'm like, if you're not in business, and if you're in business, you're in it to make, you want to make, oh, it's all about relationships. I want to make impact and all that kind of stuff. If you don't make money, you got a hobby and you're not going to stay in business very long. So do what makes money.
So
What do you
I
think?
want to touch that on a couple of different levels. Yeah, do what makes
Okay.
money, of course, but the real question is the when, right?
Mm, okay.
Is it do what makes money now, or do what makes money over the long term because you're supplying a needed product or service? So think
Mm,
about that. Think about the oil industry in the 1800s. It surely didn't make a lot of money in late 1800, but what's it doing
yeah.
today,
Yeah. Oh
right?
man. Yeah.
Think about energy production. Think about nuclear fuels. Like there's like 20 companies developing new nuclear fuel devices right now.
hmm
It's surely not making them money now, but it's
hmm
good. It's good for long term, and it will make them tons of money in 30 years. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a big depends on your perspective thing again. Which angle are
Yeah.
you looking this from? If you're talking, do what makes money. I would say more importantly, make sure your product is a needed
hmm
product or service that has the potential to make money.
Yeah, so well, that
There's
goes back. Doesn't it go back to like I mean, when we, I mean, maybe we need to pause and just think about business in the first place. When I think about like all the businesses in the world, they're businesses in the world that are solving a unique problem that's never been addressed before. It's an unsolved
mhm.
issue, right? And then there's businesses that are improving a solution that's been around for they're building the better mousetrap or whatever. They're trying to improve on a solution. But then there's a business that's actually just fulfilling or satisfying a desire. I mean, like when you think about the entertainment industry, is that really truly a need? I mean, I think we need to relax and stuff like that, but there's sometimes it's just a desire. I mean, why is the porn industry such a big thing? Well, because there's such a human desire, in the flesh for this kind of thing. So they're satisfying a desire. They're not actually like solving a problem. They might be
I,
contributing to the
I,
problem.
I would argue that the entertainment industry is, if we were all cavemen and we were back in caveman days, that's just grandpa telling the story in front of the fire. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely necessary. It is telling the story in front of the fire. That's part of the human condition. But ultimately, I think it might be a little different to think about it. About we create a product and it's a big world out there. How do we get that product to the rest of the world? Then we look at there's companies that create the products, there's companies that distribute the products, right?
Right.
There's companies that advertise so people know about the products. So the
Mm-hmm.
distribute it's like where in the supply chain are you as a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one company can't cover the world.
Right.
It takes a community of companies to get
Mm-hmm.
products that are needed and wanted throughout the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends what type of company. You have types of companies that are going concerns, corporations, publicly
Mm-hmm.
traded, and then you have lifestyle companies. I
Mm-hmm.
opened this company to like be able to afford my boat, my 4 trips a year, put my kids through college, give me a great retirement, and at
Yeah.
the end, I might sell the company, or I might just let it die, or my kids may want it, right? So that's a
Mm.
lifestyle company that's never planned on public investing and becoming this global entity. Although there are
Ah,
some global entities that are privately held companies.
yeah.
So it just
Oh,
depends.
that's so. There's two components in there that I want to that I thought were really interesting. Just the where are you in the supply chain? Just do figure out where you are in the supply chain. Are you the one growing the coffee, harvesting the coffee, packaging the coffee, distributing the coffee? Brewing the coffee, selling that. Like I mean, like there's all this different things. Or consuming the coffee. Then what about the I was thinking about the do and I just lost my train of thought. Oh, you had
That's
something really
okay.
golden.
I'm gonna interject with because you brought coffee in. Get a chance to have coffee in Spain. Holy cow! Anyway, go ahead. Coffee is amazing here. Um, so
What you went silent just for a second. I didn't hear that.
I just said the coffee is amazing here since you brought it up.
Oh, throwing down a little European. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
cafe.
the
It's the
cafe.
cafe. That's what I
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
That's what I hear. That's a good piece. About the oh, I know what it was. I know what it was now. It was do consider your exit. Like so you've gone into this business and you mentioned it about like, hey, why did I start a business? I wanted this, I wanted this, I wanted this, supplying these things, the recreational, the legacy for my kids, and then one day I could sell my business, I could pass it down to the generation. Do consider what could be your exit.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
that a healthy do in business?
I highly suggest that everyone has an exit strategy for the business as they're opening their doors or before they even open their doors,
Wow.
so they know where they're taking the business.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of many organizations that had identified their exit strategy before we sold our first product, and it was to specifically to build the business to sell to another entity and design the business and operated it so it would easily fit into the entity
Mm-hmm.
that they want to sell it to, and within a time frame. So
Wow.
I've heard visions like we want to be worth $1 billion and sell to Microsoft in 5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
that's starting the business with your exit strategy in mind and building the business to uniquely fit into an existing infrastructure. So yeah,
Hmm.
very, 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 very. Those are very clear people. They very clearly know what they're doing to
Hmm.
design and develop their business.
Yeah, and especially being specific. I mean, they specifically 5 years and to the company they want to sell it to,
Exactly.
and likely for how much they want to get out of it.
Yep.
So, what about this one? Don't do it all, or don't attempt to do it all.
But it all needs to be done.
It all needs to be done, but I mean, can it really be done by you? All of it. I mean, so I'm thinking about like
Well,
the delegation.
yeah, absolutely,
If you're going to
one hundred
scale,
percent. If you're going to scale your business, you have to figure out which hats you want to wear in the business and which hats you don't want to wear in the business,
mm-hmm.
or that you can't wear, or that you need training to wear, or
Yeah,
that frustrate you, or that you can put in somebody else's hands, and you need to
uh-huh.
build those into pillars for your business and identify the right person to manage that pillar and build that out for you
Yeah,
as part of the
yeah,
overall global vision of the business.
yeah. Well, I think that involves like that the understanding of like what is proficiency. If I think about the word proficiency, I think about it's a blending of talent and skill, right? So like I was born with certain talents or gifts, you might call them, but then there's other skills that I had to develop. Like Peter Drucker said that listening is not a skill. He said everybody has the ability to listen. All you got to do is shut your mouth. And I know that's really there's obviously deeper levels of listening, but the point is like if you have I have this giftedness like Kobe Bryant. Would he be Kobe Bryant? Obviously a great a talent, but how much training? 3 a days, or Arnold 3 times going to the gym every day and lifting weights to become Mr. Universe 7 to 9 times whatever it was. I mean, so there's got to be this blending of talent and skill and this understanding, like you said, okay, where am I gifted at? There's some things that just drain me and I do not enjoy doing that. There's some people that drain me and I don't enjoy being around them. And there's some people that like being around you, you fill me with energy. I mean, you see the world from a different perspective than I do. And that's admirable to me. I don't want to be around some people that just like all they do is like, yes, Tracy, yes, Tracy, of course, Tracy, yes, you're right, Tracy. Like, and some people don't want to be around people like that only agree with them. Maybe it's insecurity or whatever. What are your thoughts?
So you know that I dislike quotes without context. Okay, and when someone says listening isn't a skill, it sounds to me like somebody's saying something without context, because listening is a skill. Listening, bringing the information in, organizing that information, creating a plan, and executing that plan based on what you listen to is absolutely a skill set that
Mm-hmm.
not many people have. Yeah, you can sit and listen. You can seem like you're hearing what I'm saying, but is the
Mm-hmm.
information actually getting through? Are you taking that information down? Are you organizing it so that you can do something with it? Are you making a plan? Are you executing on that plan? Are you looking for problems that may happen in the plan called risk analysis? Are you taking those risks and having contingencies and drawing all that put together? I can talk here for months on
Mm-hmm.
any of these
Well,
subjects, right?
and
Let me
I
finish
think
up. And
yeah, I think it is a quote without the context. I think it is. I think there's a difference between hearing and listening in the first place. I mean, like you can hear if you just be quiet, but that doesn't mean you're listening because listening, like you said, there is a skill side to it, which listening to what even is not being said. Like,
yeah,
are you listening to understand? Those are intentional things.
yes,
Most of
very
it's
intentional.
listening to be understood or to respond.
Yeah. I mean, I see people that go to conferences and they come out of those conferences really excited and then they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
right? Because there's too much information. So
Hmm.
listening requires a couple of things, but you have to take the information and like align it with where you're at and what things can you take from all the things everybody's saying at this conference and apply now. There's usually maybe two or three things that you could apply today. Those
Yeah.
are, we talk about low hanging fruit. That's the low hanging fruit. What can I
Mm-hmm.
take? Because we're going to hear somebody up on stage that takes us through an entire life cycle of a business, or they take it through the life cycle of a particular process, or they take it through the life cycle of this. Good listeners will go, this is where I'm at. So I want to listen. I want to hear the stuff that pertains to where I'm at, what I can do to move myself one step forward, not
Hmm.
to move myself 80 years forward or $800 million forward, because there's a whole load of other processes that come into there that I
Hmm.
can't do by myself. The key is understand where I'm at, move myself one, two steps forward, and then hear it again so that I can take the other low hanging fruit to apply it to my new position and use that to move me. I equate it to climbing a step ladder that you're building. So you
Hmm.
can't build,
Yeah.
you can't go 4 steps up because it's not there. You have to climb the ladder, install the step, climb the ladder, install the step, climb the ladder. The problem
Yeah.
is everybody looks at it like it's an already formed ladder. But
Hmm.
when you're in business, you're putting the tires on the plane while you're in flight.
Hmm.
Okay. So you have to understand what parts need to go on now and what parts need to go on later. I
Yeah.
hope that helped. I hope it didn't
No,
completely
that was
confuse
really
everybody.
good. It led me to two do's. One is do all you can today, and the second one was do plan for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like there's some things I can't get done today, not because I'm putting it off or procrastinating until tomorrow, but it is a tomorrow job. I mean, like, we're talking
It
about making
require
money. I mean, like we're in it for the long haul.
it requires other steps to get to that next step,
Yes.
other tasks that need to
Boom.
be done, other pieces that need to be assembled before they can be put on the plane or on the ladder.
Hmm.
I've got to go down and get some more screws and another piece of wood so I can build the next step. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just it requires other things. This is
Yeah.
basic project planning. Okay, is understanding what I have to assemble now before I can get to the final assembly.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's not time to put the cap on the top of the ladder when we're on the second rung.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. What about this one, Paul? And I've been guilty of this. I know I have. Don't overthink it. Like the analysis paralysis.
Wow, this is about. I love analysis paralysis because that means you really don't think you have enough information to do what you're going to do. Right.
Hmm.
That goes right back to this whole ladder idea, right? If you're assembling the ladder one step at a time, then you know how to put the step together after you put the first one together. What
Yeah.
else do you
Right.
need to know, right?
Yeah.
And start growing that on. Making decisions based on 80% of the information is key in business. You can't. There are
Yeah.
personalities that overanalyze everything. Um, but it's all about going outside your comfort level, right? You'll
Mm.
never grow a business unless you push past your comfort level. So,
When you
yeah,
said that about that getting once you get the first rung in place, I love the ladder analogy. Once you get the first rung in place, I know how to do the second rung, even if that second rung, if it's a an old fashioned wooden ladder or whatever, I know how to build the second rung because I built the first one, but it's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be the dimensions are going to be a little bit different than the first one because the first one's the largest, it's the base. But it led me to this one. Do get a result to improve a result. So like once I
that's
get a
correct.
result, now I can improve a result. I can get better the second time. I mean, because John Maxwell says that the first draft is always crap.
First
So you
three,
got to get a
maybe.
result to improve a result. What's that?
I said the first three drafts, maybe crap.
Yeah, yeah. In my case,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm just saying. We always talk about. I come from software, and we always talk about minimum viable product (MVP), right?
hmm.
And there's this methodology in software called continuous improvement. So
Mm,
if you see those two things, minimum viable product, the minimum product or services that will provide enough value for a customer to actually buy it.
Mm,
That's we understand what we're delivering, the problem we solve,
yeah.
who we solve it for. Now we have the minimum viable product. And continuous improvement means now we have iterations of this product that make it better and better and better, right?
Hmm.
So as we grow sales, we improve the product. That's how software
Yeah.
runs. I think
Hmm.
that's how life should run. Life runs that way, right?
Hmm.
First time you do everything, anything,
Yep.
you're not good at it.
Hmm.
So,
That's right. Well, okay. So I have one more do, and this is because me being a person of faith, um, do what you were made for. Like when I get on these I get so much energy, I get so much charge out of this. I mean, like, I'm glad it's so early in the day, kind of at the last part of the week. I've got over hump day. It's now Thursday morning, and I'm looking forward to being with Paul on here. I love it. It's like when I do something that I love and enjoy, I feel like, man, I was made for this. I mean, like, not only, do I do it, I'm getting better and better and better and better and better, and I'm enjoying the process. And I'm not there yet, but I'm looking forward to the next week because I'm going to get better and better. So I like the idea of doing what you were made for because it resonates with purpose, design, and of course I believe in an overall grand designer, an architect. For my life. Now, obviously, he's not going to do what I'm supposed to do. He's going to do his job. I'm a kind of co-laborer with him, but I like that one just because that's part of who I am. Like, I was made for this. I was created for this.
yeah. And I will, I'll just add to that because I don't disagree with you. I just say do what inspires you. What can you
Mm,
commit to
mm,
that you're
yeah,
inspired to commit to, right?
yeah.
That you're and you need to commit something, to your point, commit something to something that's bigger than you, to hold you
Yes.
to hold you accountable to what you're doing, and to put it in your genre, scream it from the mountaintops so that
Yeah.
everybody's holding you accountable to do what you say you're going to do.
Hmm.
And and I'll
Man,
leave you with that one.
there's so many. Well, you just brought up another one. Do think bigger than you normally would. I mean, like, we could keep on going like this. I love the way we started with the illustration from Arnie's business life and his professional career, and then also the ladder image. Great stuff, Paul.
Yeah, I think in fact, that final point probably came from Arnie, and I'll leave it
Absolutely,
there. We'll go
that's
full
great.
circle on this one, and I'll leave it there. So
Excellent,
I'm on
love it.
vacation for the next couple of weeks. Obviously, I'm in Madrid.
Enjoy Europe.
I'll be in Portugal next week, and I will be off the clock and off the net. So next
Well,
week's
you
going to
you
be
deserve that.
a rerun, and I'll
Yeah,
see you in 2 weeks.
I look forward to it. Take care, Paul.
Thanks, Tracy.